The following content has been provided by New St. Andrews College in Moscow, Idaho. For more information, visit us online at www.nsa.edu.
Hear the world calling, but son, don't you listen. They're only trying to drag you back into prison. That's right.
Welcome back to the... What day is it?
It's
Is it Wednesday?
Thursday. No, we're on Thursday right this minute.
Really?
Yeah, it's happening.
Well,
Welcome back to What Have You. Rachel
we're
can't-
obviously at the
Rachel
top
can't
of
get
our game.
through the day of the
I'm,
week.
no, that's all I'm going to need to talk about today. Tell me the calendar some more. So, I'm Rachel Jankovic,
I'm Bekah Merkel.
and we're back to
We
talk.
We are here in the week of the dinner party.
Yeah, this is the dinner party power week.
Rachel-
Although I've crested
Rachel
through.
is on the other side of her dinner party. I have yet to achieve mine.
Becca's is a dinner party yet to come.
Mine is tomorrow.
I'm going to say a word about this. How many people are coming to yours?
Mine is, I think I said last week like 45. I was totally not telling the truth. I don't know why I thought 45. It's like 25.
That's much more reasonable.
It is reasonable.
But I have to say that in feeding lunch groups, there's like up to like 30 or 35. It's kind of like what you're kind of just making more of what you normally make. You're like, I can make it to 35.
It's like it's a recipe times 7. That's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, and this is actually one of the things I love about the app Paprika. When I don't do this all the time, but you can use, if you save recipes, like, so it's great because I have it on my computer and on my phone, but you can print out recipes from it and stuff. So you can save a recipe from online somewhere in your Paprika app, but when you save the recipe, you can edit it.
Yeah.
But you can also scale it. So
But see,
I
okay.
can take out sections of directions that I thought were superfluous, like things that were like I have this biscotti recipe that I don't know what they're smoking when they tell you to drop the dough by teaspoonfuls in a...
Biscotti?
It's biscotti, and it tells you when you've made the dough to drop it by teaspoons on... And I'm like, who thinks
make
that's a good idea? Like,
Biscotti chips.
No, it's in a row and then pat it into a log. And I'm like, if we're going for a log, you're not going to find me dirtying a teaspoon. Like, I can make a log with my bare hands pretty easily.
With my Play-Doh
I'm like, watch
expertise.
me go with not using a teaspoon. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, when you take that recipe, you can just delete big sections of things and change it.
Okay, but
and then you can scale it
but
like
I don't like
8
that.
times.
I don't like that, though, because here's the thing.
Why don't you like that?
Because,
I
for
like that.
instance,
It's one of my favorite
this
features.
is where I go wrong on that. Is that oftentimes you don't need 8 times the sauce or 8 times the marinade. You really only need like 4 times the marinade with that amount of meat or whatever.
For instance, my Texas sheet cake is double the cake and 1.5 the frosting is
right.
what makes
and
the
I
right.
suppose you could get in there and edit that.
No, it's
just
not that. My point is not. The thing that makes this app so great is it retains the link to the original recipe.
Yeah.
So you just can edit things and change like, if I add something or if I tweak it, it's not like I want to go, someday maybe I'll write out my own recipes for something. But
look, you have a Bowden package arriving.
That doesn't happen every day.
That's exciting. No, but here's the thing. So, the Santa Maria tri-tip that you made last night, for instance, when I do that, you do have to multiply the meat by a bazillion, and you have to multiply the rub, but you don't actually have to multiply the little brushing marinade. You really just, because you never go through, it's not like you need 4 cups of that.
Yeah, but
by the time you're
that,
done.
I will tell
See
you,
what I'm saying?
when I made
If you
that
just-
last night, I had a mason jar of the dry rub that I made.
Yeah.
And then shook it up.
Yeah.
And then I had a mason jar, and what I did there was not even consult the recipe, but pour in half oil and half red wine vinegar to the volume that I thought I needed.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was not very much.
But I'm just saying that oftentimes recipes are like, but here's the thing. Can I just take a moment to say that Santa Maria tri-tip
is
the
really
best of the West. I feel like we should put
I'll put the recipe
up.
for a mason jar full of the spice rub, because I actually use it on chicken breasts. I don't spice rub it. I use it as a seasoning salt,
Yeah,
like where
it's
you
good.
just, it's really
It is
good. It's
so
a little
good.
bit hot. It's good.
Peppery. There's a lot of peppers in it. I came up with that recipe like years ago after I had this incredible tri-tip at a farmer's market.
Yeah, he was good.
And I was trying to duplicate it. And rummaged around and found something somewhere and ended up tweaking it. And
Yeah.
oh man, it just
It's good.
became the standby. I
It's
love it.
very good. And then
I think you should talk about what you served last night, your menu for your dinner party. You
Okay.
had 50 at yours.
yeah, I felt like we passed the you know what happened to me also last night is that many of the things that we did not really have a name. So people are like, "What's this?" You're like,
It's a little thing I did.
It's a little surprise from
Pardon.
yeah.
My phone
Becca's
is
getting
ringing. It's ringing.
so the okay, let's see. The appetizers that we had, I realized after we were there, I was like, this is a lot of bread. We use the sourdough bread that I make.
Yeah.
Sourdough country bread. But we had, so the appetizers were, we had baguette, like bruschetta, you know, thin toasty slice with lentil topping on. Lentils are a thing here because they are locally grown lentils. Although I didn't grow up eating them that much, but I love them now. I eat a lot of lentils.
Yeah.
They were beluga lentils, like the black lentils that are really pretty when you cook them. So,
Yeah.
and then it's with Kalamata olives. This is a recipe that I made up from sometime I had something.
Yeah.
So I made it. So what it is in the food processor, I blend the Kalamata olives with their pitted Kalamata olives.
Add some texture to the bruschetta.
I should get that in there, and then with some like lemon zest and garlic, and that's pretty much it. Because the olives are so salty that you don't really need. And then I just folded into the cooked black lentils with some thyme, fresh thyme, and some capers. And it's just like a really
feta?
pretty.
Do you put feta in it? I've done it with feta, like folded in there. It's good.
No feta in
Oh,
it.
because you put.
We put a cheddar, like white cheddar, sharp white cheddar on top of it. So like a baguette with the lentils and then some of that. Then we did a watermelon
cube
with a whipped mascarpone with a little bit of goat cheese, like a little bit, like probably 4 ounces to like 2 pounds of. It was not very much, and then salt and pepper and the mascarpone, so it was really creamy and light, and then basil on top of that, and then we did that in a balsamic puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a thick balsamic, so it works. And then Mom made that homemade ricotta, which we really love, the Ina Garden one.
Amazing.
Making homemade ricotta is actually shockingly easy. It's like you just cook some whole milk with a little bit of white wine vinegar and then strain it. Salt.
And it has like garlic.
Salt, and then that's like the herbs. Then you put a bunch of fresh herbs in it. But having that with the bread is really yummy. And then we had, the main course was a Santa Maria tri-tip, and then we had a couple salads, like a green salad, and then Mom made that dill potato salad and then we had like a tomato, cucumber, avocado salad, and
good.
then dessert was a chocolate blackout cake, which I find that people always choose the chocolate over the but I think it worked out fairly evenly last time. Anyways, we had chocolate cake and then a summer citrus cake with raspberry champagne peaches and whipping cream.
Yeah.
So those
Can
are
I
the two
just
dessert
take a moment?
options.
Now we've recommended too many recipes, but the champagne peaches.
That comes from my that cookbook that the origin story of that was a canning recipe.
Yeah, it's incredible though. Like I've served it just straight up for dessert. So
Like
if
a
you
wine glass with champagne
like
peaches,
if you
and
poach
it's so
the
good.
peaches and get the skin off, and then you poach it.
Blanch
in-
it, you mean, not poach it, right? Isn't that what it's called when you're peeling them? Where you cut the
You
little
blanch
cross
it,
in the
but
bottom
then
and you
you
dunk them and put them in cold
That's
water.
blanching, but then you poach it in champagne and raspberries, and so
Yeah.
they turn bright pink, and then you serve
And
it.
sugar. There's
and
sugar in there.
But you serve it with just the sauce, the like pink sauce, and like half a peach with some vanilla ice cream on top, and like some toasted almonds.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And the good thing is you can make that in advance and put it in your
the
fridge,
fridge.
and then you just pull it out and make something really gorgeous
And
with
you
it.
put it
at
in
the
a
end.
little like glass like
Mine, I
parfait
don't think,
dish or
mine
something,
were
it's
sliced.
beautiful.
Mine were sliced more to get through all of the, because they were just on the plate with the cake, so they weren't. It wasn't like a.
I've done just
but-
half a peach in a little footed glass bowl with the
Yeah.
sauce and ice cream and almonds, and
So
it's
good.
like
Have
pretty.
you? Did you have that cake last night? Or did you have
had
the
the
chocolate?
chocolate.
You chose the
I
chocolate.
did. It was good.
Anyways,
That was Rachel's menu.
anyways. Now I made it past that.
Wait,
Becca's not done yet.
I'm not done yet.
But what I was going to say earlier is I feel like somewhere in the 40s, you reach the level of cooking for people that becomes more about strategy.
yeah.
Like, it's suddenly like, well, yeah, you don't have a pan that will fit all of that. So how are you going to...
This is where Rachel gets into buying industrial rice cookers.
I do. I own the rice cooker that...
60 cups.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I love that thing. I want one.
You do. Everyone wants one because it's the thing to have. And when we did the parish soup and bread stuff or whatever, I would make the soup, but switch it all to the rice cooker later in the day and put it on the buffet on like warm, because it will do the. It's like
It's humongous and it's awesome.
well, it's also just handy. Sometimes but the thing I'm really wishing that the world would make, why is there no like 4-gallon covered dish that you could put in the oven? I'm assuming
4-gallon covered dish.
when I say 4 gallons, just to emphasize, I'm looking for something large. But why is there no like a large rectangular oven safe thing? I mean, my guess is that because none of us could carry it full of something oven,
that
like
is
that the idea of trying to stagger around with something with that much like something in it would not.
Yeah.
So they probably just don't.
yeah.
If you
probably
can't
not.
handle it as a single person, you shouldn't.
Well, even my biggest cast iron pan, I can't pick it up and dump it into something.
Well, if it's
By
hot,
myself.
my word, no.
because
Yeah.
you have to two-hand it, and then you can't spatula it out.
No, and
So
if it's
you have
hot,
to-
you have to hold it with a
Mitts,
pot holder
yeah.
anyway, so it's awkward.
So I always have to call in assistance on that, but I love that pan so much. Although the seasoning got ruined, I have to try again on the seasoning. But I had it seasoned to perfection, and totally accidentally, it just happened, and then it got ruined.
was it the Le Creuset one or
No, it was just like a
one or
lodge,
something?
like a big
Oh.
black iron. I love it.
I should get one like that. I have the huge Le Creuset, which I have no regrets about that.
No, they're
that one.
amazing.
That
Love
was
those.
a wedding gift that we felt like shot the moon when we saw it. Like, it's just this enormous Dutch oven.
Yeah.
And I loved it dearly, but I was like, when will we need? I mean, you put a whole chicken in that thing, and it looks like a Cornish game hen in the bottom. So, but now I'm like, I need another one of these.
Oh, yeah.
This is not enough.
I have the size down from there, and I always covet your great big one.
Yeah, mine's looking a little used and abused because we love it so much. So, okay, we need to talk about something. First, I actually, well, there's all kinds of things. Last week we kind of left off on a trail of talking about raising daughters.
Oh yeah.
And then I got a question about this, and then I felt like I needed to clarify that I don't feel like I'm not trying to make my daughters like you have to wear this much makeup or you have to be. I'm fine with them pursuing their own, like if they don't care for wearing makeup, I'm not committed to them being makeup wearers for life or something. My concern is more there's so many, we've met, since we have colleges here, I've met so many college girls who say things like, my mom just never taught me, like I don't know how to do this, and they're like bummed out about it now, like I don't know why my mom never taught me how to cook, how to wear makeup, how to do, like I don't know how to shop for myself or my mom. And I wanted to say that for a long time I assumed that was moms just seriously dropping the ball, but once I have people sort of in this age group, I still think it's moms dropping the ball, but I also think that you bring in someone else saying, I never want to wear makeup, I don't like it, I'm not interested. And you could see a mom just being like, oh, okay, you don't ever want to do that, I'm going to take your word for that and just move on.
But also, I do think we've met girls who say, I just am not into clothes, I'm just not into
But they are.
makeup.
They're-
Are you trying to kill a bug?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if I got it, guys.
Thanks.
It might come back out to get us.
Anyway, but they say I just know I'm just not that kind of person. I don't like it. But it's more of a defense mechanism because they don't know how and they wish they did. And when you pull them aside and show them something,
No, or they finally get their hair cut and style it, and then they're like, why didn't I do this before?
Yeah,
And I've been around that so much, from friends to people. I've seen so much of that, which is like being under-equipped to make your own decisions, because you only have one. If you never learn to wear makeup, your only option is not really wearing makeup or saying you don't like makeup, or I don't know how to, like, it's an intimidating subject, or it's whatever. And I just don't want that from I want my girls to be making their decisions with the freedom of having
knowledge
and freedom. Like, you're actually free to, I think what I'm trying to say is that you can think you're giving your child freedom to choose their own path, when what you're really doing is limiting their freedom to choose. Like, you're basically saying, if you never learn how to do these things, then...
But, okay, so here's the thing. I feel like there's also a whole generation of moms who are in that position themselves. Because they are the ones that never learned how.
Yes.
So what's your recommend there? Where it's like trying to pass on something you didn't have.
So a comment that we get a lot, I feel, is like, because our mom does so much with Sabbath dinner and so much of the wonderful, so many of the things that we love so much about our broader family culture, things that we're so thankful to be able to give our children, is not things that we are personally executing. Mom is doing a lot of that. So there's this generational gift that is you have grandparents here who value this, and there's aunts and uncles on both sides of the family. People, we have a lot of gifts that way. And so a lot of the time we'll get people say, well, you say that's important, but I don't have...
It's like, but you just have this blessing.
But you just have people doing it for you. But the reality is that we just have the blessing of seeing how awesome it was that our mom did something that she wasn't given. Like, she was the first. I mean, she did turn... Like, she was the first. She didn't raise us with mom here doing all of this. Or, and I'm not trying to minimize the gifts that she was given either. It's not that. It's just that... Women you're not all babies. We're not, we have to start.
Somebody has to be
somebody has to be the person who desires to give.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I always think of it as being like those towers of champagne glasses where you start pouring in the top and it overflows, and by the end it's overflowing into a huge load of champagne. And that is something that I always think of, because I think somebody starts that. Somebody's like, I'll be the top glass. What I'll do is I'll just start overflowing into what's right below me, and then pretty soon it's going to be... So
I would just say, we do live in a kind of embarrassment of riches. It's
so much,
It's not like you can't find out. If you're the person your mom didn't do this for you, there are resources abounding to find out.
So much,
So it's like, even if it's just... Take your daughters down to the department store and talk to the lady behind the makeup counter.
Help me out.
Yeah.
Like, I need help with this, and we're gonna see what this is. Or
call a friend who sells Mary Kay.
Or ask someone whose hair always looks good to say, could you give me any advice about this situation?
Take your daughter to the hair salon and talk to the people.
And there's no reason to say, the reason I look like this is because I love my frizzy hair. I love, I've just decided to embrace my monster frizz for life or something. You don't have to pretend that that's what you like. There's no obligation.
But it's how many tutorials are out there on the internet?
Yeah.
Many.
So expanding this from personal looks into other things you want your daughters to learn. There's a lot, and this reminds me of, so on Instagram I have posted a picture of my oldest daughter. Lena is really a good little knitter. She's been knitting for a long time, but so now she's knitting at a level that is not looking like a child's knitting.
Yeah.
I also have people knitting at a child's level in my house. Most of the times I clean up, I end up with a pile of odds and ends of yarn and needles, and whose is this?
Yeah.
Whose is this amazing thing that's happening? Anyways, so I should say something about that, but I'll come back to it. Lena's knitting herself a sweater, and it's beautiful. It's looking really great. It's like got a cable down the front, and it fits her like she's been trying it on. You know, it's a top-down sweater, so she's been trying it on, and she's making it and making sure it fits her the way she wants it to. And she's just doing great at it. And anyways, I commented when I put a picture of it on Instagram that my first sweater, I was much older than 12, and it looked much worse than this. And then somebody commented back, somebody who listens to the podcast, commented back that theirs was also that it was like an alpaca sweater that would be so hot. It'd be like the sweatiest thing in all the land. So yes, but then it reminded me of my first sweater. So as I was dabbling in knitting, when I was reading, you know, like I found a book or something with a pattern. You know, this is amazing to say how old we are. Pre-internet.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet was just not the place you looked for knitting patterns.
Right.
And there was like, so Mom bought me I had just started to be like stunned by the idea of like how you could shape a sleeve or something, like where I was like, oh man, you could make different shapes with knitting. It was when I knit myself that scarf, a cabled scarf, and I innovated a slit in it because I was like, wait, I could tuck the...
Oh yeah.
And I was like blown away by my own engineering to make this like slit, and then afterwards it looked like I never wore it because it looked like it was like a weird nursing scarf or something. Because the cables pulled the slit open.
Oh no.
So it was it was definitely not what I wanted. But it was a good learning experience. But so then Mom bought me this Vogue Quick and Easy Knits book, and there was a sweater in there that I was like, yes, I'll make that. Well, this sweater was bulky. So this was the era of the really chunky sweaters being a thing. That was a short-lived moment, but it was at that moment. And this sweater called for bulky yarn, which is large-scale yarn, not like doubled.
Oh man.
So you knit the sweater with 2 strands of bulky.
I bet it was slimming and attractive.
It was really, really bright red. And I use this like lamb's pride that's like almost like it's a single twist, so it's almost just like a tube of roving, you know? It's like those Afghans that are really in style right now that are like knit way too huge. It was a sweater basically like that. And I knit this whole thing up and I put it on, and oh my word, so incredibly overheating. And it had this collar that like it was like it wasn't even really open at the neck. It had like a split collar, and I learned a lot in this. But I knit that thing and I wore it maybe half a time. I wore it for part of something. Yeah. Like, and then I was like, I can't take this anymore. Well, that thing lurked for a long time in my house. Like, you know, what do I do with this terrible piece of business? And then I think I decided, I was like, oh, I should just felt it because it's so much wool. I should just felt it and make a like a bag or something out of the body of it. So I washed that thing hot, and it came. It comes out of the washing machine looking for all the world like a fire hydrant. It's like it was so much wool in that sweater that when it felt it just felt it into like a solid tube and with these little arms sticking off the side, like it was too thick and unmanageable for even like a bag. Like it was like an unusable piece of wool. And I remember it like, and then it would like not dry. It would not be dried because it was so thick. And I remember throwing it away on it. It just sort of lay like as a solid little piece of wool. Like a little, it's sort of the way it looked on top of the garbage in this little. I was definitely not a fabulous garment. I really wish that I had taken photos of this event because it was so funny. Like,
well, okay, so one time, I don't know where you were going with this story. I feel like there was a point, but it reminded me.
That was it. I said on Instagram I would tell about my first sweater.
There we
That's
go.
the whole point, was to tell you that it turned into a thrown away fire hydrant.
It reminds me of the time that I felt like it would be fun to try to sew Ben a sport coat.
around.
to try. It was like, and I feel like it might have been corduroy. I think it was corduroy. Maybe it was tweedy something, but I think it was corduroy. And so I had this ridiculously complicated pattern because that's not a small event.
No.
And it was so much like tailoring and getting it to fit him and the lining
my word, yeah.
and the pockets and the flaps and the this and the that
and
the
there's
vent.
like those pieces of, what is it called?
Like,
there's pieces
like
of
a
that.
felt underneath the
Yeah,
lapel.
no, but that stuff that like helps it keep its shape is like those pieces of things just sort of tucked here and there.
There was a lot of things going on in that. And it was kind of more the challenge of the whole event. And I think I put elbow patches on the sleeves.
Yeah. Why? Because
why
would you not?
Why would you not? It was
point,
going to be like,
at this
let's
point,
do
let's
it.
make sure we do it all.
And the lining, and of course the sleeves are not just tube sleeves. They are tailored with a bend.
Yeah, because
in the sleeve.
a thick fabric, you have to be able to bend your arms.
Right. So the elbow, it's like it's kind of jointed.
It's
almost.
like a boomerang.
Yes, it's got a curve there going.
Right.
So this had been quite the thing. And I was doing an actually kind of a good job on it. Like I was really being meticulous. And right at the end, I put in the sleeves. There's so much hoo-ha going into putting in the sleeves and the lining and the whole big thing. And that, and think about the vents at the cuffs with the buttons.
You can't stop anywhere. There's so much to do.
Stuff on a sport coat if you ever stop and look at it. And got
worth
thing
buying,
in.
You
got
might
in.
say.
Yeah, almost as if you should get a professional.
If you should just buy it.
But I had Ben try it on. And I'd put the sleeves in the wrong side, so the right was on the left and the left was on the right.
So they bent backwards. So it's actually kind of like one of those moves that toddlers do where they bend over and throw their arms up behind them and run. Usually when they're having a bad attitude.
Like the elbow just went so of course when he's standing there, there's like a weird puff on the inside of the elbow. Like it's
a la stirrup pants and the baggy knees. Taking some inspiration.
That's all. It just went in the garbage then and there. Because
what I've decided now is I quit.
After clipping the armholes.
Yeah, you're like, it's too late now.
And the lining is in and you're added the reinforcements around here.
And there's elbow patches.
And there's
your... Yes!
Oh,
but,
boy.
How many seamstressing lessons did you learn? The first one is don't sew sport coats.
Nope, I've never tried since. Because the thing is I had sewn a ton of clothes, but they were all, female clothes. And because there's kind of nothing sadder than boys having to wear something their mom sewed for them when they hit it, not babies, but when they hit a certain age. Just don't sew your son's pants. It's kind of
it'd be better to just start buying them at the hardware store.
So I was just curious, could you sew something for a man and have it work?
I'm sure, but I think it might have to become your life calling.
I discovered that no, you shouldn't sew for a man.
Or maybe not as a hobbyist.
No.
Or as a professional, maybe.
Maybe if you're a tailor, you can sew for a man.
Maybe.
Oh my word.
That is really funny.
That is hilarious. So you told about your sweater, and what are we talking about?
I thought we were going to... I got distracted because we were talking about daughters. The thing that I wanted to come back to was, this is not just daughters, with everyone. I'm a big believer in having... I know Marie Kondo has spoken to us all. We all have read it. We have all read it, and we have all believed that it would be a good idea to throw away whatever doesn't give me joy. But when you live in a household with a lot of other people, you have to take into account what might give them joy. Surprisingly, we do not have the same list of things that gives us joy. No. Some people in my house have a lot of joy about the R2-D2 Bop It. I may not. My heart may not sing when I see that, but I pick it up in my hand and I feel nothing. I feel no joy. But
maybe spite. You feel spite when you pick it up.
But one of the things that I really think is great, and I'm not an extremist about this, so I'm trying to balance this out, is I have a lot of stuff. So when my girls think that I want them to learn, I have a lot of cookbooks, I have a lot of knitting books and sewing books and needleworking books. Like I just have a lot of resources, and yeah, that is stuff that we have to keep in our house. But when they are like have some downtime and I see my kids just reading up something on how you might do something, or how they're like absorbing so much like information about what is possible in the world, what, like, even if they don't like what they're seeing, they're always like, oh, I'm discovering that there's so much out there.
Because we're doing so much renovating right now on our house, and we're in this like last final gutted out end of summer. I'm refinishing the floors, the oak floors, and I would say we're doing it. It's just that it's the end of summer and Ben is so crazy busy at the office that it actually has ended up, I am actually refinishing the floors. So it's really fun though, because my girls are, well, just various kids are helping with different parts, whoever's home and available and stuff. And they are learning so much about, like, here, run the power sander thing, the big floor sander for a minute.
Yeah.
You do this, and then, I had one sidekick helping on the staining it and the and one of my girls did say, like, it's kind of fun to learn how to do all this stuff. So it's like, loop them in.
But also don't, like, I think, don't try to entertain your kids all the time, because it's a combination, because if you have nothing in your home for them to do, if it's almost like a sterile environment, you know what I mean? Like our home is styled down to the, like we've made every space beautiful and empty of clutter and nothing is here. And then if you don't then provide them with activities and entertainment, what would they do? Like if you've basically eliminated it all, then you need to get them out of the house or go somewhere else. But this is the end of summer, so we've spent a lot of time at home, and I love that there's not a shortage of, like, you have to be being boring to be bored.
But like, here's the thing, one of my favorite verses in the world is, the stall is clean where there is no ox, but much increase cometh by the strength of an ox. And so it's like, your house really should be...
It was the crib is...
The stall is clean. It depends on crib, on what translation, no doubt. But the thing is, like...
It's the one that I know. Apparently this is a life first for both of us. Is where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increases by the strength of the ox. Yeah. It's like, if we weren't plowing all the fields, we wouldn't have the ox here making the mess.
And the thing is like, your home, there is a fine line, because, like, of course, the thing our house is blitzed out of its brains. All my furniture is on the porch right now because I'm refinishing the floors. Yeah. Like, it is not funny. There's sawdust puffing out every seam. There's sawdust puffing out my seams also. But the thing is, it's like, there's a fine line, because of course the thing I'm aiming for is to get the house to the place where it is, like, yes, okay, I have a floor I can mop now, or whatever. But I think that sometimes we can get to that thing where it's like, okay, now I've got it, it's clean, it's perfect. Now I'm just gonna let it stay just like this.
Yes.
And never
more be.
But it's like, there's no productivity anymore, because you're like a parked car.
Yeah, you're like, and now we've arrived. It's something that I'm willing to take a photo of, and it's on a pedestal in some way, but we can't use it. And I think I am no advocate of mess, but what I'm saying is there's a ton of things in my house that my children have not mined the value out of yet. Right. Like, they are there's a lot of yarn I don't like that is behind the door for them to access whenever they want it. There is all of this stuff, and I so love that they are learning things on their own, and it's not like I'm telling them you have to go do this. We also have a lot of art books, how to watercolor, how to do, and I love just seeing them reading. My kids all occasionally read cookbooks. Yeah. Like, they just are flipping through it, and then it's like,
Okay, my kids did the coolest thing. Like, a week or two ago, I've been doing major construction work at home, which incidentally I'm not really cut out for, but I've been doing it, it's like, but oh my word, you're like tired and achy and whoa, and I feel like I haven't gone to the grocery store in, I don't know, 4 or
6
5
months.
years. Anyway, it's like, who knows what's in the kitchen right now?
Yeah.
Because it's like doing the emergency. Yes, run to the store. Let's grab a gallon of milk. Let's blah. But I am not on my menu plan to a great degree right now. And the kids were like, "What's for lunch?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not even sure. So they went in there and they had a rummage, and 3 of them who were home, and they whipped up some breadsticks that they made from scratch. I think Hero just invented the recipe right up. Made some breadsticks. She had made some herb salts from the garden.
Yeah.
Put herb salts on top. They found like an old jar of pizza sauce, which they doctored up into a dipping mechanism.
Fancy
They
that.
found some avocados, which they made into
that was a surprise ingredient.
another guac dipping sauce. They found 2 frozen hamburger patties in the freezer, which they pulled out, and they made some of the dough for the breadsticks into little hamburger buns, and they took the meat and made it into little sliders. And then Judah got in there to the fridge and pulled out all kinds of sauces and made this dipping sauce that was like kind of super hot and spicy, like a chili, almost like a sweet and sour sauce.
Leaning heavily on the sriracha.
And there was like sriracha and like chili paste and all sorts of stuff in there. And so, and then they sat down, and it was the coolest thing, because Hero had the breadsticks, and she went out and she cut some like thyme and lavender out of the garden, threw that on the plate, and then they sat down, and it was like 3:30 in the afternoon by this point, and they're like, "Look at this!" And I came down, and it was like, daggone. That is really looks pretty good. And I think Hero like actually pulled out some garbanzo beans and toasted them up with some salsa.
Oh, I love it.
It was great. I was like, I ate some, and I was like,
guys,
wow.
Why haven't I put you in charge of this?
It was like, this is what we pulled out when there were no ingredients to be had in the house.
I love it. I know, I love it. And I think that it is such an, like, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but like 9 people is a lot of people.
Yes,
and then if you say, what do you think a house that was full of 9 creative, like, okay, I'm not calling us this. I'm saying, I'm saying what I would want. Creative, busy, like, oh gosh!
It's the bug that she did not kill.
And Becca just radically
gross.
Becca just overreacted times a million.
Dead.
It's dead. I got it that time.
That was your scream, not my scream.
No, you did it a crazy shake panic, and I was like, what happened? Oh, sorry about that.
The bug, it came forth.
So anyways, my point is, what do you think a house full of 9 industrious, interesting, creative people should be like? Because let me tell you, it is not the place where everything is streamlined and simple, because you have 9 people operating on their own, like, oh, here's something I'm working on, and oh yeah, that's something I'm trying to do, and I'm doing something with this, and even this morning, one of the first things that Shadrach greeted me with this morning was, "Mom, can I color on this shirt?" And I was like, what? Well, just Shadrach's my almost 5-year-old. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because I'm going to try to make this shirt to look like Titus's lacrosse shirt.
How cute.
And it was Titus's undershirt. And I think he said he was planning to hit it up with some Sharpies to make it into something. And I said, not right now, but I think I will let you later, because I want to see what you're going to do with that. Because I'm like, because it might be something I needed to know. What was going to happen with that?
I would let him go and see what he comes up with.
I just didn't want him to get, Moses was out on the prowl, so the Sharpies was not what I wanted out, because Moses plays with a Sharpie about 2 or 3 times a day, as it is. So he often comes in with a cap popped off Sharpie.
That's distressing.
Yeah, so anyways, the point is that I think what is this false vision that I would have of like, oh, it's gonna be super orderly.
Calm.
Like, no, everyone's bed will be made,
Mood
and definitely no one will have a huge layout of some This is what keeps
Snips
happening
of
to
paper?
me. It's all people. Chloe's like more into fashion-y things.
Okay.
So she is in a constant state of cutting out pictures and taping them together and snipping and whipping paper and things.
Yeah.
So like she loves nothing more than cutting all the pictures of people's outfits out of like
Sure.
a Bowden catalog and taping them onto some paper dolls and
Sure.
stuff. Whatever. That's what will be all over her bed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she'll go up somewhere for some privacy and do that. Well, that is not this. It's like I have to do the work of saying, okay, come clean this up and put this
Yeah.
somewhere if you want this. And it's just not the same thing as like a sleek
No.
home. But the end
Although-
result is more what I actually want. I think that I've met so many adults who are not very interesting or doing
Yeah.
much. That
No.
it's like, well, I think that this is the path to what we want. It is not
So-
a quiet moment.
I think that this actually segues into the tip portion, which
Yeah.
we need to hit right now.
Oh, yeah, because we're going overtime.
So
That bug interlude really
the bug,
took up time.
it's dead. It's turned up its tail and died
It
now.
was like one of
on
those
my-
bad flying beetles, like a small
yeah,
flying
and it
beetle.
was on my arm, and I flicked it off, and it kind of went towards Rachel, and she whipped her shoe off and started jabbing around at everything.
we got it. We killed
Yeah.
it dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, tip.
Yeah,
Here's
you
the
have a tip. You do
no,
your
you
tip.
have yours. You go. You tell it.
Oh, okay. That one of the things that in line with talking about everyone making the messes all over the place. Sometimes we have our team meetings. I tell my kids to report to the living room. I'm like, tell everyone it's time to
do this.
report
Yeah.
to the living room. So they summon them up from the
Yeah.
highways and the byways,
Yeah.
and everyone reports, and they report to the living room, and then the meeting could be about anything. That's just what we do
Yeah.
when we say everybody come to the
Yeah.
living room. But then I have many times had this discussion with them. Like I'm like, show me your hands. And everybody puts their hands out, and I say, how many hands are there here right now? It was like, I have told them, this is I said, you have to use your hands for good and not just for evil. So I'm like, if you are making messes with one hand, I'm fine with that, so long as you are cleaning them up with the other one. Like, we need you to do equal parts of this.
Yeah.
And so because this has been a theme that we have talked about, like how many things are you touching and moving or leaving or whatever, like think in terms of using your hands
Right.
the other direction too. So one of the things that I do all the time now is I'll say take 5, because we say if all of the people pick up and put away 5 things, then that's like a lot of things. It's 35 items have gone back to where they need to go. We do take 5s, take 10s, take 20s even. We have done tallies but I love seeing the kids running by with like 4, and then they're like, oh, I got something else, 5, okay, and then they they end up, and it's just a good quick method for like, and I sometimes I'll do it, say we do it, and like if the playroom was a big mess, I'm like, I'll take a picture of it, and I'll be like, here's a picture, everybody do a take 10, and then we'll take another picture and just see how much difference this makes so
Right.
quickly if we're all doing part
So
of it.
you say take 5, and everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, so sometimes it'll just be like, hey, peeps, take 5. And so everybody gets up and picks up 5 things and puts them
See,
away.
we have a sort of comparable thing, but it's the white tornado. So
We also do the white tornado. But for it
But
to
I
be
like
a
to take
tornado, it can't stop.
no, it
You
has
have to
just keep
continue
going.
on.
But the white tornado is we're starting here at the front door, and we're blasting our way through to the back, and I need everybody blasting at the same time.
Sometimes I do when it's a cleanup like that. I do all different things with the kids, because sometimes you might discipline someone who is not working.
Right.
But sometimes I'll just say, if I see you not working, or if I see you, say, dancing with the broom instead of sweeping with the broom, or if I see you doing whatever. Sometimes with the kids, I would do like I put Cheez-Its out on a plate and put a big pile of mustard on them with like a chocolate chip on it or something. And I was like, yeah, something hideous. We would brew up some kind of a hideous one-bite snack. And then I would say, we are going to clean for 15 minutes. And if I see you not working, you have to eat a Cheez-It. But this is the thing that they think is so funny, that
Right.
everybody was like, they are so cracked up by the whole situation.
Well, okay, I think that actually is a really big part of it, is having it be fun and
Yes.
cheerful, because the cleanup time can often be mother being the Gestapo.
Well, and getting increasingly peeved, and then until by the end, you have the mother like ready to be like, none of you are people I ever want to see again,
But the thing
because
is,
we're trying to clean up.
but mothers can take it as a personal insult.
Yes, well, because it feels like one sometimes.
Because it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
nobody cares for me.
Like,
Nobody
have
appreciates.
you no heart?
Yeah.
Straight.
It's like, the only reason you made this mess is because you wanted
This is
to hate
malice.
me.
This
You
is
wanted to
malice.
hate
This
me.
is not manslaughter. This is
First degree.
murder.
Premeditated.
And
And so to have it be fun, it's like, just have it be like funny, mom's laughing, everybody
Yes.
thinks it's great.
One other thing we've done, and when you say be funny, so the gross out treats was one technique I have used, and or you can not prepare the treats, but that really helped everyone with the incentive. And then, but one of the other ones I've done is like I would do cleanup superstars. My kids are younger than yours. It would be weird with all teenagers.
Yeah, it
but
would.
with the younger kids, we'd get a notebook out, and I would write down things that we had to do or whatever. And then when they would go do it, they would have to run. I was like, you have to hustle. You got to run. When you come back, you'll be a cleanup superstar. So they would all race to get their jobs done. And when they come back and check off the job that they did, I would do this goofy, like, you're a cleanup superstar, and then I would throw a marshmallow to their mouth. Like, this is like, we're like, open your mouth, and everyone gather around, because this person has been crowned a cleanup superstar, and I'm going to throw a large marshmallow at their face.
That's awesome.
This is the level that we work on, though.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if you're getting everybody to help do stuff and working on something, I want them to have those memories be joyful memories also. Like memories of we worked together, we did stuff together, but we weren't all fussing with each other when we did it.
And you don't want to turn it into, we can all be fun together during relaxing times, but nobody can be fun during a work.
If we're going to work,
If we're
because we have
working,
to be a family
we're
that can
grumpy.
work together, or else we cannot possibly live together. So yours is the
anyway,
white tornado. Did you
but look
have
at
more details
look
about
how
that?
many minutes we've talked. We need to turn this thing off.
We just need to power down
We've
this
got
week's
to
pod.
just
No,
call
I
it.
had a quote though. We had that quote that Mom found.
That we
should-
have to do that next time, because
Next time we have a quote.
we have a quote. It's good.
Brace
Stand
yourself.
by for the quote.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to you
right.
later.
Bye.
Goodbye.
New St. Andrews College thanks you for listening.